This area of life may feel pretty tough right now, may feel a little stagnant, may feel like it's all work, no play, but I want you to promise me you're not going to give up. You're going to keep going. You're going to keep giving up. The temptation to quit and stay here for tomorrow's rewards. Can you do that? I know it feels really tough. I know it's taking the easier route. It's just giving up and going back to what's comfortable, but rewards are on the horizon in this area of life. Can you please just stay with me? Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Astrology Lounge. It's me, your host, your friend, your astrologer, in your pocket, in your ears, Stephanie Powers, coming live from Twin Moon Ranch outside of Austin, Texas. Today, we're going to talk about Miss Saturn herself. It's like a Saturn check-in, similar to the Pluto check-in we did last week. We're doing a Saturn check-in for the retrograde. So in this episode, I'm going to talk to you about what Saturn retrograde means. Why, again, it's quite common to see a Saturn retrograde. It goes retrograde about 4 to 5 months of every year, so not too uncommon, but we'll discuss what that means. And then I want to give you guys some horoscopes of just some compassion and validation for the area of life that may feel pretty tough. All work, no play, sobering up in this area of life. But remember, Saturn plays the long game. The area of life that may feel the most stuck or difficult right now is more than likely going to be the area of life where you experience winning a Medal of Honor, rewards, where things feel very good once Saturn has completed its work in this area of life. Be sure to visit our website, astrology-lounge.com, for show merchandise, ways to work one-on-one with me, and to just read and snoop around and look at some pictures, see Twin Moon Ranch, see me, the pugs. It's always nice to know who you're taking information from. Everything you need is in the show notes, including those really awesome pure astrology cards. That's right. If you're born in the 80s or 90s like me, and you like to use flashcards to remember this second language of astrology, do I have a treat for you? It's pure astrology flashcards. You can find those with a pretty little discount in the show notes. All right, guys. What is Saturn retrograde? Saturn's currently in Aries. How's that going, Aries sons? I'm talking to everybody who's having their first and second Saturn return right now. But for anyone with an Aries sun or an Aries moon, you guys are really feeling the effects of Saturn, sometimes more than people going through their Saturn return. So if that's you, I'd love to talk to you to see how your experience is. But July 26th, 2026, all the way to December 10th, 2026, Saturn's taking a nap. Saturn is going into the locker room, to getting off the field of life and going into the locker room to revise, reassess, rethink its approach to growth in the Aries-ruled area of your chart. So what does a Saturn retrograde mean? Well, astronomically speaking, the science of it, you guys know, for all planets that go retrograde, they're not actually reversing their orbit. It's like an optical illusion where they appear to slow down, stop, and move backwards. So it's simply caused by Earth passing Saturn in our orbit because of the shape of their orbit. But astrologically, study of symbolism, it's quite important. When Saturn is moving direct, we're building things in the outside world, creating structure, we're taking responsibility, setting boundaries, we're doing all those Saturn disciplinary things, learning lessons through real world experiences. Now, when Saturn turns retrograde, appears in the sky to be moving backwards, that energy becomes backwards, more internal. It turns around. Instead of moving forward, turns around and comes back towards us, internal. Think about it like this. Saturn moving direct is building. Saturn moving retrograde is inspecting what's going on inside. Right? So this is a time when Saturn goes retrograde to really ask yourself, have I been putting in work towards something I actually want? Am I building the right life for me? Are the rules I'm following and the boundaries I have actually mine, or did I inherit them? Where am I avoiding responsibility? Where has the karmic clock struck midnight, but I'm still staying around? Saturn retrograde often asks us to revise, mature, and refine rather than push ahead and continue building, fixing, It's more internal structure. So remember, Saturn goes retrograde every single year. Saturn spends roughly 4.5 months retrograde and about 7.5 to 8 months moving direct. So since Saturn takes about 29 to 30 years to orbit the sun, it retrogrades once during nearly every year of that journey. So it's quite common to be born during a Saturn retrograde or for everyone to experience it. And remember, I like to reframe retrogrades as a wonderful time to take a break. Have you ever been playing in a sport or an activity or be working out at the gym and you need to take a break? You're like, wow, I just pushed it. I was sprinting. That's a retrograde. It should be a sigh of relief, a breath of fresh air. It's your time to go get some Gatorade or coconut water and get an orange slice and just say, okay, whew, let me revise where I spend my energy. Where or what theme depends on the planet. Sorry guys, I'm a little stuffed up. My allergies are bad today. But what do people commonly experience during Saturn retrogrades, especially collectively? Governments reviewing policies, business restructuring. Since we're in the era of AI data centers, I think during this specific Saturn retrograde, we're going to start to see a lot more protesting and hey, whoa. Stop building the data centers and start asking the individual people, Aries we're talking about, how it's affecting them, what they think about it. So more conversations about accountability and consequences because this is Saturn blended with Aries. Personally, and this always depends on where Saturn is transiting in your chart, you're revisiting old commitments. You're saying, I really need to strengthen my boundaries here. You might feel tested, like we're going to talk about in that specific area of life. Or because Saturn rules success and growth, when Saturn goes retrograde, you may realize you've outgrown something or outgrown an old definition of what it means to feel successful in the Aries-ruled part of your chart. So I am on a mission to completely reframe Saturn retrograde as not being bad or difficult. If Mercury retrograde asks us to review information and communication, and a Venus retrograde asks us to review relationships, values, spending money, Saturn retrograde asks us to review maturity, making wise decisions. Have I made decisions out of lust and love and whimsicalness, out of things I want, don't need? Or am I able to tell someone no, even though my heart loves you and wants you and it would be so fun? Am I able to say no? Because long term, this is not good for me. Am I able to ask for a raise without being fearful? Am I able to quit my job? Or am I able to apply for a job? Am I able to start a business without fear? So during a Saturn retrograde, if you answer some of those questions with yes, I have. I've been able to do those. Saturn often rewards you with greater stability, with more success. Saturn is the planet of success. It gets its reputation because we're all human and we like to hold on to the negative definition. But it represents great rewards. Great rewards. If Saturn's in your first house, say you're an Aries rising, Saturn's in your first house, you may feel restricted and held back for a while on your identity. You may look at all these people who start these things or go after what they love and think, why is it so easy for them? But over time, wherever Saturn sits is where you become a late bloomer, sure, but where you get a lot of success. Saturn in the 7th house. So this would be right now, if you're a Libra rising, then Saturn's transiting your 7th house. But this could be people who sometimes marry really young, but Saturn restricts and limits and asks you to roll up those sleeves and put in the work. This area of life is going to be a lot of work, so to speak. And when Saturn's in the 7th house, it's like, man, some people just effortlessly find their soulmate and say, when you know, Saturn's in my 7th house, I definitely don't know. My picker is broken, or I just don't know how to stay committed and loyal. It's just not coming easy to me. And of course, depending on the sign it's in, but Saturn in the 7th house typically rewards people with a wonderful partnership if they put in the work. Later in life, sure, but it stands the test of time. I absolutely love it. I love Saturn. So when Saturn goes retrograde, if you were born during a Saturn retrograde, you'll probably find that your life is actually moving forward. You finally see what steps to take, how to solve something, where the work is paying off. Could be a wonderful time. If you were born, like most of us, when Saturn was direct, then Saturn retrograde is simply a time for you to do a little check-in on your Aries ruled house, so you can see, where have I been flowing with Saturn, putting in the work and seeing slow rewards, or where have I been blocking my ears and going, la la la, I don't need to work here. It's not asking me to show up and do the hard thing. Saturn's like the personal trainer. And wherever Aries is in your chart is where you're in the proverbial gym of life with your personal trainer at 5 a.m. smacking the donuts out of your hand saying, let's go. I want you to be healthy. I don't care what you look like. That's just an added bonus that you look good. But I want you to be healthy and strong and have energy in this area of life. No more. I haven't been here in 30 years, says Saturn. And we got to clean this space up. Remember the analogy I used when we were talking about Saturn and Aries back in February? Go listen to that one, by the way. I said, Saturn has not visited your Aries-ruled part of your chart since 29 years ago, 30 years ago. And so imagine if you had a house, a little property you owned, and you left it. You didn't sell it. You didn't rent it out. You just left it for 30 years. And then you come back and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I own that little old farmhouse down in Ohio. Let me go check it out. What do you think it's going to look like? It's going to be a wreck. Oh, I can only imagine, like vines growing inside, windows cracked, mice poop everywhere, cockroaches, snakes, spider webs, cobwebs. I mean, it's a wreck, right? And so Saturn comes through and says, goodness sake. Mars says, just bulldoze it down. We'll build a new one. I've got energy and time. Saturn says, no. You didn't rent this out. You didn't pay people to upkeep it. Now you are going to come in here with me and remodel it by yourself. And you're like, oh, I have to touch mouse poop and cobwebs. I hate spiders. And Saturn's like, well, yeah, you do. But over time, if you show up at this house every day from sunrise to sunset, and you face your fear, like we talked about in Leo season, getting the lion, if you face your fear of those cobwebs and you sweep up the mouse poop and you go spend money on new flooring and paint and windows, even if you're like, oh, the windows are so expensive, but you do it anyway because you understand that you can always work and go make more money because you're disciplined and strong. Eventually, this becomes one of the most beautiful houses on the block. Saturn is coming in to make you do a little elbow work, yes, but by the time Saturn finishes in Aries, the house ruled by Aries in your chart should be polished, modern, beautiful, having a Airbnb YouTube channel for it. Everybody wants to check it out. It's gorgeous. It's flawless. That's what Saturn wants to give you. Saturn, I'll never forget the phrase. I think it was Deborah Silverman who said this. Saturn leaves you a gift at your doorstep when you show up and put in the work. We took the pugs to a state park, and it is hot in Texas in July, duh. But it was a lot of work. We took them to this beautiful Spicewood Springs. It's flowing, clean water where they could play and swim. And it's a mile hike in and then a mile hike out. And we knew, like, having pugs hiking this, especially as they age, is a tough one. And it was. It was absolutely chaotic. We had to carry them sometimes. It was just wild. And, when we got back to the car and we're sweaty and we're muddy and I have an all-white interior in my Tesla, and I was like, it's covered in mud. Who cares? Sign of a good day. But we later on that night, we're at home just chilling with mocktails, just gazing out into the sky. Like, one of those moments where you're like, I need to just zone out for a second. Jesus, what just happened today? I looked at Mr. Virgo and I go, it's so funny that the moments that are so chaotic that they seem to just fly by, and it's really hard to just be present in them and enjoy them because you're making sure kids don't drown, dogs don't fall off a cliff. You're just, those are the ones you always miss the most. I'm not let's say I just left my pugs at home all the time. And I constantly just went out and did stuff for myself and forgot that I had a dog and just left him at home all the time. For me, I feel like those moments I would have by myself or with some friends, they'd be cool, but I wouldn't remember them. I wouldn't crave them back. I would be like, oh, that was just nice. The ones I would want back are the moments with kids, or the moments with dogs, or like the ones that were so difficult and required so much planning and extra paying attention and hypervigilance. I don't know. There's something about it that I'm like, the most difficult things you put yourself through, whether it's a difficult workout, whether it's traveling overseas and you have to learn a different language and you have to stay up past your bedtime and there's a jet lag, right? Like those are the trips, that are the experiences that you remember and you look back on fondly. It's interesting how that works. And I think that's the perfect example of Saturn. Saturn says, yeah, that was tough, huh? But when you look back on it, you miss it, don't you? You're proud of yourself. You gained confidence, strength, endurance. And you take that into the next chapter of life. Whenever I tell you guys, have no fear about Pluto transits, Saturn transits, because they prepared you for what's to come. Are we ever fully prepared to be parents or to get married? Or are we ever fully prepared for the loss of someone close to us? No. Can you be? No. But you can have some tools to pull out to carry you through those moments rather than letting them steamroll you into just losing yourself. Every transit prepares you for the next. I fully believe in that. And so I don't think the universe, God, cosmos, whatever you believe in with this stuff, I don't think it ever just throws things at you and says, flounder, enjoy. So with that said, I know it feels tough here in this area of life, Aries, but rewards are on the horizon, especially around spring of 2028 when Saturn leaves this area of your chart and moves into Taurus. Quick little side note, I was watching the Sean Ryan podcast with Aaron Brockovich last night. I just watched a little clip of it. And she was talking about how there's going to be this war for the natural resources. And all I could hear in my head was Chiron and Taurus, Chiron and Taurus, Chiron and Taurus. Go listen to that episode, please. It was from a couple months ago. But she was talking about how the world is going to get back into what is most important, which is having quiet, because people are complaining about the AI data centers are so noisy and it's making them go crazy. Taurus. What did I tell you guys about Tori and kiddos? Tell them before you turn on a blender or a coffee grinder. You're welcome. But she was like, people are going to say, like, we want our water. We want our nature. We want silence. We want quiet. We want natural things. Chiron and Taurus, which, again, we are in a preview of, which is why I think, where's my little transits calendar? Chiron and Taurus, June 19th, 2026 to September 17th, 2026. This is literally the window that the protests with data centers has been the widest. And it's all for, hey, give us our land, our water, our trees, our quiet. Get away. We don't want those here. Like, no. Then it'll go retrograde and finally stay in Taurus from April 2027 to July 2033. I think during that time frame, we're going to see a lot about nature, about natural things, about people saying, wait, okay, I took this for granted, but now that there's a threat under it, now I see the importance of it. We'll see. Time will tell. But guys, let's do a Saturn check-in, okay? We're going to talk about the house, and it might feel tough, but rewards are on the horizon in this house as well. We'll talk about the house that may be giving you external events, pulling the toughness out, and the houses where you can get some support. The cookie jars that you can reach into for help. So you know what we do? We kick it off with Aries. Be sure to listen to your sun sign, moon sign, and your rising sign if you know them. The most accuracy will be held in listening to your rising sign or your ascendant. And then second most, it's your sun or your moon. It depends on, are you having a lot of external changes in life right now? Are you moving, getting married, getting divorced, separating with someone, dating someone? What's going on? If it's external, listen to your sun sign. If not a lot is changing in your external world, but internally you feel like the ground beneath you is shaking, listen to your moon sign. And remember, always listen to this stuff for the people around you, because this can help you understand where a lot of their energy is naturally gravitating towards, and you can utilize that to not take things personally, to not pull them out of the area of life that's really siphoning their energy and calling them to grow. I think listening to where Saturn is for your loved ones really helps, because when we love someone, what do we want to do? We want to take away their pain. We don't want to see them struggle, especially if it's our children. We don't want them to have to go through difficulties. Yet, Saturn is really shaping and molding them to be such strong people. So listen to where Saturn is for your loved one and just support them. Don't take their lesson from them. Don't do that. They need this. But listen so you can give them ease. Be gentle. Don't, if they're a Cancer rising and Saturn is going through their 10th house, don't keep telling them, pick one thing, stick with one thing. Like they're going through a huge turn in their career and their life's direction. Support them, encourage them with whatever they decide to do, but don't tell them, figure it out now. They will, but give them a year and a half, give them a couple years. All right, let's do it for Aries first. Oh, Aries risings. I know it feels tough with your physical body right now. Maybe you are like, hey, I am so used to having lots of energy, lots of power, lots of strength. Where did that go? How did I become so weak physically, mentally? I don't like this side of me. And what could be bringing this side out of you is either a marriage or a divorce, someone you're in a very close family relationship with, maybe someone you're in business with. But Saturn going through your first house is this call to, hey, we can't always burn the midnight oil. We can't always fight through difficulties. Sometimes we have to surrender to them and accept that our vitality is gone for a chapter in life. And a big part of your lesson, because the 7th house is what's opposing this, and this is the house of relationships and marriage. Some of you could be getting out of a marriage or a partnership that's absolutely draining your power. Some of you could be feeling like that dream partnership is just not going to happen. And so you're just feeling sad. You're eating your feelings. You're not working out. Or some of you could be on a wave where you're like, you know what? I'm done with partnership. I'm going to focus on me. But you're wrestling these feelings of loneliness. When Saturn goes through the first house, it is a time to have a lot of maturity and discipline when it comes to your physical body. A lot of people become bodybuilders when Saturn goes through their first house. That's really cool to see. To focus on strength training and competition with yourself. Anything that involves being in competition with yourself, say it's CrossFit or strength training or just beating your own goal, telling yourself by the end of this year, I'm running a marathon, right? I'm not in competition with anybody but me. That is a wonderful thing to do when Saturn's in the first house. When Saturn goes through the first house, it is a time of all times to utilize Mars ruling your chart, Aries rising, and say no to people, to say don't talk to me that way, to really protect your energy and put up boundaries with romantic interests, with business partnerships, with anyone you're living with and very close with. They may be used to you doing everything for them, or they may be used to just talking down to you. This is your time to say no. No more. I want my energy back. So Aries risings, I give you this permission slip to not sulk at home and say, well, that astrologer said I've got no energy, I ain't going to the gym. To accept that this is the season of life that you're in. Your body is not at its peak, but it's asking you to be gentle with it. It's asking you to play the long game, which I know it's not always your forte. But when Saturn goes through this first house, this is less run and sprint, and this is more do gentle stair stepper for an hour. Oh, a long hour on something, yuck, but it pays off. By the end of this transit, you could be looking at a physical health and a wonderful body that you feel good in, you have energy in, and it could be supported by a new partnership that is healthy for you. Yes, some of you could get married by the end of this transit, or if you're in a partnership that's currently going through a little remodeling, this could be a time where by spring of 2028, when this is up, you feel so good about it. You finally feel like you're in a good place. So the support, the cookie jar houses, I say, if you guys are feeling so fatigued, so burnt out, so like, I don't even know what I like anymore. My sense of self is just blah. I feel like life has become all work and no play. Reach for the 5th house and the 9th house. These are houses that are sextiling or trining, supportive houses to your first house work. The 5th house is creativity and fun. So the more you do things that are like, I'm pulling myself out of my house, I'm pulling myself away from, I need to go with someone. No, I'm just going to a dance class. I'm going to an art class. I'm going to a pottery wheel class. Just anything you can think of. Put yourself in a museum, in a concert, in a ballet, at a play, theater. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be outlandish. Just give yourself some fun, and this will buffer any lack of vitality you feel in your first house. Date people if you're open to it. The fifth house is romance and dating. The fifth house is children. Go be around children. Volunteer with children. Grandchildren, your children, do something with them. That could light you up and bring more optimism to this transit. The ninth house is international travel, higher education, museums, concerts fall into this, second languages fall into this. So of course, this is also take a trip, get that passport out. Hop on an airplane, take a cruise, go do one of those things, or sign up for a certification. Go back to school. Go learn something new to help you out through this Saturn first house transit, right? To me, as a Sagittarius, there is nothing more better than pulling yourself out of a daily routine and traveling to somewhere where the culture is completely different for you to look back and say, wow, I actually have it pretty good. Or, whoa, people live like this and still have this sense of happiness? My mind has changed. My beliefs are changing. My relationship to fun and romance wants to change. And those two things are ready to help you out with this sense of fatigue you may be experiencing with Saturn going through your first house. So, Aries risings, I promise you, you are going to be reborn as not only a warrior with energy, but a warrior with unshakable strength and endurance by the time Saturn is done with your first house. Don't go at it alone. Come see me. If you're feeling fatigued, lost, anything like that, we'll look at how Saturn's playing with your personal chart. Astrology-lounge.com. Taurus risings. Hi guys, my fellow Taurus rising, Venusian ruled people. Do you guys ever look at the AI data centers and think, oh my gosh, if that is ever built near me and I have to listen to the hum? Nope. I don't know about you guys, but I would gladly go live in a motorhome at the top of a mountain to get away from that and never experience it. Listen, all I'm saying is I've wanted to live in the Florida Keys my whole life, and I don't think any data centers are going to be built down there. Give us peace or nothing at all. Taurus risings, we have had Saturn and Aries transiting our 12th house. So I know it feels tough in silence. I know it may feel tough in your mind. Maybe you're waking up in the middle of the night questioning everything. What have I done? Who am I with? Why did I have these children? Am I a good parent? Have I ruined them? I regret so many decisions. I'm sweating about it in the middle of the night. Maybe you're having downloads, visions, dreams, symbolism that's giving you a message that you don't feel ready to hear yet. But it's the truth, and you don't know what to do with it. Don't sweat. Don't fret. Just collect data. Every day, Taurus rising is just another day of data. Don't make any decisions. Unless, of course, you're born during a Saturn retrograde and it feels right to make this decision, but don't feel the pressure to make any big decisions. Whenever there's a big planet like Saturn going through the 12th house, it's the house of all things hidden, the subconscious. It's a preparatory house for the big first house debut. So a lot of us are going to look, feel, present ourselves completely differently by the time Saturn reaches Taurus, our first house, in April of 2028. But for now, every day is data. So the 12th house is addiction, substance abuse, mental health. If you've thought about having a mental health spiritual retreat, perfect. If you've thought about attending rehab to help you out with mental health or substance abuse, perfect. Therapy, beautiful. But a lot of times when Saturn goes through our 12th house, it is a time to completely rewrite the last 30 years. You guys are wrapping up a Saturn cycle. So what have you learned in every area of life since 30 years ago? This is your time to say, okay, it served its purpose for 3 decades, but I'm done. I want to completely start. Life is always going to be difficult. It's going to be cyclical in nature, but things that happened when I was 8 years old, I'm done. I'm over it. I want to focus on something else more close to where I'm at in life now. And this is a very internal job, which is why when Saturn goes through the 12th house, you may want more alone time than usual. You may need more, I need to go recharge my batteries on top of a mountain time. Therapy, getting sober, processing old pains and releasing them permanently. Now the challenge house is the opposite house, this is the area of life that may be really pulling out these lessons. For us, it is the 6th house of health, daily routine. I'll present this in 2 ways. In one way, we could have physical health issues that pull out subconscious pain. If, let's say, this is a pretty black and white example. Let's say you want to get pregnant, but you can't. You've been really struggling with fertility, and you finally surrender to IVF or IUI, even though as a Taurus rising, you want to do things natural and trust your body, but you surrender to it. And surrendering to that, to some people, it's like, what do you mean? Like, that's amazing. You can go do that. That's incredible. But to you, it could be this massive, like, how did I get to a point where I have to do this? Where did I go wrong? Eating, drinking, the relationships I was in. It's this huge unraveling of the past and the subconscious. The 6th house, the house of health. Maybe you get diagnosed with an autoimmune disease or, God forbid, anything more serious. And you're like, whoa. How did I get to this point? How did this health issue come back? How did I get diagnosed with something like this? Now, if it's not a health issue, this could just be, where have I lost myself to supporting the other? Where have I lost myself to caregiving? Where have I lost myself to my spouse's dreams? And you're going through this huge, like, wow, this is a pattern. This is like an ancestral pattern. That's a 12th house. 12th house is a generational house. So a lot of Taurus risings could be saying, oh, wow, I'm going back in time and realizing where my parents made me inherit this, and now I'm ready to change this, let go of this. It's a really deep internal process. Now, Taurus, the cookie jar houses that you reach for support, which will be the houses that are forming a trine to your 12th house Saturn transit, is the 4th house of home and where you physically live and family, and the 8th house of other resources, investments, intimacy, shared resources, and trust. How I interpret this is when you feel lost, when you feel like you can't get through this 12th house, lean on your family. Biological family if you have it, or chosen family if you have that as well. But the 4th house is where you physically live. So Taurus risings, you guys also have Jupiter going through this house for the next year. The 4th house, make sure you really love and enjoy where you live, because something about it is likely to give you support and help through your Saturn 12th house transit. If you want to live somewhere warm, it's so important to. If you want to live in the mountains where it's quiet, it's so important to do that right now. Make sure, and if you're not moving and changing your physical living location, make your internal home, decorate it like it's yours. Make a little she shed, get a little something, or man cave if I have some male listeners. Create something that is all your own, that is peaceful, quiet, that has pugs snoring as they do these big stretches. That is 100% your own, just a living space that can support the internal work that you are currently doing. Now, the 8th house is, we are really learning to trust the art of transformation, to trust ourselves to financially get us through any big life transformation. We are learning that it's okay to merge finances with another, to merge bodies. Yes, this is the house of sex. To merge with another. We're really learning to trust ourselves with other people. There's some large lesson. This is a very karmic. I mean, the 4th house, 8th house, 12th house, they're all my water generational houses. So you guys could be starting a family, breaking up and having to start fresh with your family. There's some, maybe family are going to move in with you for help. Maybe you're caregiving. There's something to do with the whole lineage that you guys have. But irregardless, these are the emotional feeling houses. So you guys could be going through this massive overhaul of your vagus nerve, of your mental health. You guys are really ready to say, okay, I love my sensitivities, but they are not going to make me physically sick. I love my sensitivities, but I'm not going to let people take advantage of them anymore. I love my sensitivities. It makes me so wonderful to be around, but now I need to have some guardrails and boundaries with those things. So Taurus, I'm going through all of this right there with you. So come see me if you want to look at it on your personal chart. Visit astrology-lounge.com. Gemini risings, Gemini suns, Gemini moons. I know, man, Saturn going through your 11th house really kills your vibe. Why? Because if you're a Gemini rising, the aura you give off when you go to a dog park, a coffee shop, walk into a class or an office is come talk to me. Come be my friend. I want to get to know you. You get to know me. This is great. Let's go out for dinner. Let's go grab a drink. You want to grab coffee tomorrow? It's so easy for you guys to just go out and come home with new friends. It's just effortless. But when Saturn, the planet of discipline, and saying, even though they were fun, don't invite them over. Even though they sound so exciting and they're hilarious and you love their sense of humor and they love astrology just like you, don't make plans and promises you can't keep. And you've been down this road before. The social butterflies are preventing you from seeing the red flags. Geminis, Saturn in Aries is transiting through your 11th house. I know it feels tough with friendships. Maybe you're reflecting on old friendships, what went wrong, what you miss. I know it feels rough with your dreams, maybe social media. A lot of you have been working so hard on a dream that I think Saturn right now is sobering you up, saying, hey, stop. Like, you guys have some serious grit. You're ruled by Mercury. You can talk yourself into and out of almost anything. You got to tap into that heart sometimes. But Saturn going through your 11th house of friendships, your hopes and dreams, retirement, it could turn out one of many ways. And I want to try and cater to all ages here. Number one, you could be retiring, and it could come with a huge whiplash. Who am I? If I'm not working here or doing this, who am I? And this feels tough. It could be that you have been going so hard towards a dream, towards fulfilling something that you found on social media, or that involves marketing, network marketing, social media marketing, something on the internet that is just not taking off. And you've put years, blood, sweat, and tears into this. And Saturn is going through it saying, I'll wait. Are you going to realize that this isn't the thing you're meant to be doing with your level of intelligence, that you shouldn't be working for someone else, or you shouldn't be pouring your talents and your multitasking abilities into this? I'll wait. But it's like you're met with this feeling of, no, this is definitely what I want. Like, this is my brand. This is what I'm known as. This is what my family wants me to do. Yes. And Saturn isn't saying a word. It's just sitting there, cupping its chin in its hands, going, Okay, so do you want to go 80 miles per hour towards the wall, or do you want to do a slow crawl? Just throw it in neutral. Like, you get to decide here, because you're not leaving this transit without knowing exactly what you came here to do, what your purpose is, whether it's a monetary one or just one for your legacy. You're not getting out of this without going to it. Now, some of you may know what this thing is, and you've talked yourself out of doing it. Others may genuinely feel lost and need to use that Uranus transit going through your first house to find who you really are and then proceed as such. The challenge area is the 5th house. This is the opposite house. This is where external things could be really pulling at the strings, making this difficult. And the 5th house is fertility, children, romance, and ego. So again, how this may turn out is, say you are a Gemini placement that wants to retire, but you can't because you have children to care for or romantic interests to care for, but you're tired. Or maybe you're retired and you have all the time and money in the world to enjoy hobbies and passions, but you don't know. You don't know what you like to do anymore. And you're literally starting from square one like a child in a sandbox in elementary school, figuring out which toys you're interested in and which ones you're not. Which could come with, wow, I just wasted so many years on autopilot that I don't even know what I like to do for fun anymore. Nothing's lighting me up. This is a weird process. For Gemini placements of age, a sudden pregnancy or a current child may demand a lot of your attention and make you feel like your dreams or your social life are stalled temporarily. Really have you learning lessons around that. Or this could be a romantic interest or feeling like you're single and you're not going to find anyone, or something that involves your ego could be holding you back from what is really what your soul came here to do. Now there's cookie jars to this. There is support. If you feel really lost and it gets really tough, I want you to reach your hand into cookie jar number 3 and cookie jar number 7, the 7th house and the 3rd house. The 3rd house is supporting this change. It's supporting this work, right? If you're on a field, you're tired, Steph, I need some Gatorade. I'm like, I got you. Go in treasure chest number 3. Pull something out. Well, the 3rd house, treasure chest number 3, is your local environment. So if you're trying to get something off the ground on the internet, maybe start small and try your local town and neighborhood before you make it to the big leagues in the 11th house. If you're struggling with those, 3rd house, have a conversation, journal, go to therapy, take a certification, take a course. 3rd house, reach towards your siblings for help if you need caregiving assistance, childcare assistance. If you're struggling with fertility and it's putting a dampen on things with that 5th house, research new ways, come up with a new game plan, schedule it, put it on the calendar. Little things like that can help the 11th house work feel better. Steph, I'm so exhausted. I don't know if I can do this. Yes, you can, Gemini. Reach into the 7th house treasure chest. This is relationships, marriage, partnerships, business partnerships. If you're married, lean on your spouse. If you're trying to go after a business idea, a creative project, reach for a partner. Don't go at it alone. Don't launch that podcast by yourself. Get a co-host. Don't create that Instagram or that TikTok by yourself. Get someone to help you out. Don't launch that business. Don't start that storefront. Don't open that market. Don't start the farm. Don't do anything without help. A business partner, a spouse, someone you're very close with. Lean on them. See what they think. Take their advice. The 7th house is also the mirror house. It is a really good lesson on understanding how you affect people, right? There's a strong difference between intent versus impact. Intent is our rising sign. Your intent is, I communicate and listen very well because I'm Gemini. But your impact is your 7th house, which for you would be ruled by Sagittarius. Which is, some people may experience you, your impact may be, they think you're a know-it-all. They're like, I'm not giving them advice. They listen to every podcast, read every book. They're so smart. They have all the degrees. They are well-traveled. I'm not even going to give them advice. They'll come to me if they need it. Reach for 7th house themes. If you're in a marriage that you want to leave, that you know it's time to, this could be the 7th house support, which is, hey, when you finally make the tough decision to leave a relationship, all of the sudden you get sprouts in your garden that you thought would never come. Or if you're in a relationship that's very lighthearted, but you're ready to commit and take it to the next step, whether it's getting married, buying a house, starting a family, etc., getting a fur baby, this may be the time to do it, to take the leap and go, okay, I guess I'll never be ready for this, but maybe this will teach me something new about what my dreams in life actually are. Reach into that cookie jar. Got your orange slices and your Gatorade and your coconut water waiting for you. You don't have to sweat it out. In the 11th house, Geminis. Remember, Uranus is going through your 1st house if you're a Gemini rising. If you're a Gemini moon, Gemini sun, early degree, between 0 and 8 degrees, you have Uranus coming through to royally change, shake up, wake up, and remind you of who you are before the world told you who to be. You guys are mutable air. You're excited by change. Don't worry too much about it. But if you ever want to go over it with me, do not sit over there and question it all alone. Do not go down the Google or now ChatGPT AI rabbit hole. Come to me. Talk to a human. Let's see what we can figure out in that chart of yours. Geminis, good luck out there. My moon babies, where you at? Cancer risings, Cancer sun, Cancer moon, Cancer ascendant. Listen. I know you guys are struggling with your career. Where do I want my life to go? I planned and plotted and prepared prepared and this is how my life was supposed to look right now. Why does it look nothing like that? You know what? I knew I shouldn't have opened my heart. I knew I shouldn't have been vulnerable. It's my mom's fault. Yep, it's all my mom's fault. She didn't hug me. She didn't really love me. She smoked. She drank. I didn't like her. Or it's my dad's fault. He never encouraged me to have discipline and to go after and work hard for things. He was just a drunk that left me alone. It's his fault. It's my whole family's fault. None of my siblings protected me or helped me. And if one of my siblings would just start a business idea with me or just give me, throw me a bone, lend me some money or something, then I'd be okay. Listen, I love a good rage sesh, and you have every right, Cancer rising, to go through the gamut of I'm the victim and this sucks, because sometimes you are. As a Cancer ascendant, you wear your heart on your sleeve. You are here to master emotions. And when you mix boundaries with emotions, it's not fun. Me and Mr. Virgo, who's a Cancer ascendant, we're just having a debate. Oh, a Virgo sun and a Sagittarius sun having a debate. You don't say. This is a daily occurrence for us. But he's a Cancer ascendant, and we were talking about prenups. I think we were talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting married, like, oh, prenup. And I was like, if we ever got married, I would get a prenup. I think they're very smart. And he just stopped the car and slowly turned his head to the right and looked at me like, what? I'm like, what? You didn't know that? And he was like, no, when you have prenups, you shouldn't be getting married in the first place if you don't trust them enough. And I was like, okay, I hear you on that, Mr. Moon. But also, life happens. We don't know how we'll react when we experience a trauma we didn't see coming. We don't know what it'll do to us. I just think it's smart. And he was like, well, when you do that, relationships, connections become robotic. And I was like, okay, I can see what you're saying, but I still highly disagree. I still think in French, like if you're doing business with a friend, you should have a quote unquote prenup, a contract. If you're getting married, you should have a prenup. That's just the hill I'll die on. And he was like, I'm dying on you shouldn't get married then. You shouldn't be friends with them then if you think you need that. Listen, can you guys settle this debate for us? I would love to know what fellow Cancer risings have to say, although I feel like you guys are going to side with him and not my Taurus rising that says protect your material items. And he's like, protect your heart. Don't get married. I love it. So much fun. But you guys are probably in this moment where you're like, either your career is just feeling the pressure and the stress, or some of you could be reaching the peak of your career, feeling like, whoa, I made it, but I either look around and don't have a family or a spouse to share it with, or was this worth it? Because to achieve just doesn't feel right. But what I'm finding in readings with you guys is so many of you are just burnt out with what you're doing for a living. And my retired Cancer risings are like, I'm so bored. I need to do something and help people. And a lot of Cancer risings are looking at their retirement life and thinking, this isn't what I wanted. This is not what I saw for myself. I thought I'd be a grandparent by now. I thought I would live on a farm and with things by now. It's just not turning out how I thought. The challenge area is the fourth house. I think I kind of subliminally went over that. So the fourth house is opposing this. This is the area of life that is likely to bring out these wounds, these tough feelings. And the fourth house is home, family, the past, lineage. You know what I was just saying? Like, it's my mom's fault for this. She didn't hug me. My dad didn't protect me or give me money. My brother and my sister. Where you physically live could be causing you pain and strife. Maybe you're living with your family and thinking, I want my own house. Or maybe you're currently building a house and it is not going as planned. Or maybe you're underwater and a mortgage and a house. Or all you can afford is a certain place that you just don't feel safe or comfy or cozy in. And it's having you reflect on those 10th house. Well, shit, if I want a new space, I need to either keep this job that I hate to get the good money rolling in, or I need to go get a second job or apply for a higher job. And I'm so tired, says the Cancer rising. The fourth house is also our family of origin. It's the roots of our tree. And so a lot of you may be having this midlife crisis, if you will, of your career or just the legacy you want to leave behind. You know, I always say the 10th house transit is, what do you want people to say at your funeral? Start doing it. Saturn says, yeah, guys, yeah, Cancer risings, start doing it. Why aren't you? And you guys are like, Pluto just left our 7th house. Can we take a deep breath? Stop. I know, guys. I wish I could just bring you all to the astrology lounge, tuck you into a cozy blanket, and hiss at the world. Get away from them. But the challenge is the 4th house. Can you guys stay strong? Because rewards will come in that 4th house, whether it's starting a family of your own, becoming a grandparent, whether it's buying a dream home, living in a space that is yours, that you paid for, and you're so proud of, and you're like waking up every morning going, this life, this daily routine, this home of mine, these 4 walls were earned, not given, and I own it. So nobody can take it from me, or kick me out of it, or say that they own half of it, or take me to court saying I owe them this and this is theirs. Yes, these are the stories I have heard from all types of Cancer risings. It's mine. I deserve to feel safe at home, because when I'm at home, I know what I want to do out in the world. And when I go out there as Cancer rising doing it, well, your fellow Cancer rising just became the world's richest man ever. Reach for the support houses when you guys get tired. This is cookie jar number 2 and cookie jar number 6, meaning the 2nd house and the 6th house. These are forming trines to this transit. This is where you go when you get tired, okay? When you guys get tired, go to the 2nd house. Sell some material items you have, or stop purchasing some material items. Downscale some material items to start saving money. 2nd house, your natural talents. It's time to revisit them and start taking little steps towards monetizing them while you maintain your, what's it called? Fail-safe, I think is what Mr. Virgo calls it. For my retired Cancer risings, reach into what you really enjoy doing, that you are naturally gifted at, and start doing it. And still, have a yard sale. Sell some material items. Go find a material item like a car or a house that you would like to purchase so you can feel safe and comfortable within it, and set that goal. Get numerical with it. This is what I need. This is what I'll do. Reach for the 6th house as well. Everything is in the details. The 6th house is your daily routine, your diet. Start going to the gym, start going swimming, start doing Pilates, go to that yoga class, go to hot yoga and sweat it out, go to the sauna, cold plunge, look up some supplements that can help you sleep at night so you don't doom spiral. Get the 6th house straightened out. This is also the house of pets. So if you currently have a fur baby, lean on it. If you would like to adopt, this may really warm your heart and give you the unconditional love that can melt you and put you into the flow that your water sign is known for. But go get some blood work done, go to the dentist, start naturally taking care of yourself, doing those little boring but really big things, and reparent and love up on you. This will support that 10th house. When you schedule little things like a spa day or a massage once a week, when you book I don't know. Did I say massage? Acupuncture. Anything 6th house, Virgo themed. Change your diet. If you guys have been like, you know what? I've been talking about going gluten-free. It's time. I'm doing it. This could also really support the Saturn 10th house transit. Okay, Cancer risings, I think we've said enough here. You never have to go at this alone. My mom's Cancer rising. My partner's a Cancer rising. I know you guys like the back of my hand. You're one of my favorites. I feel so blessed to be in a bubble with Cancer risings, because I really owe a lot of my success to them, because I know that they're always there for me. They always have my back, both my mom and my partner. So I love you guys, and I'm really thankful for all the energy you put out into the world, and you're ruled by the moon. So always look up to the moon and say, thank you. I'm not feeling good today, but I know you got me. And just like the moon, changing cycles, changing size every day, so won't your moods. And good chapters, savor them, and bad chapters will change as well. This too shall pass, Cancer rising. So visit me if you need any help. Hi, Leos. Kind of a sign of the era here with Jupiter freshly moving into Leo. Listen, even though Jupiter is hanging out, remember, while it can represent abundance, miracles, happiness, joy, that is definitely a high weather forecast for you. Jupiter expands what's already existing. I have seen it time and time again that Jupiter comes around and something difficult happens or something uncomfortable gets magnified. And while it's not fun in the moment, in hindsight, Painful Jupiter events or difficult, tough Jupiter events almost always have the most beautiful meaning and blessing after the fact. If something like a divorce, say, happens under a Jupiter transit on your 7th house or descendant, it's painful in the moment. It's never comfortable to go through something like that, no matter what the case. But in hindsight, you'll say, oh, that was a blessing, right? If you get dumped, someone breaks up with you or ghosts you during a Jupiter event on your Venus or your moon or your Leo sun, and you're like, what is this about? I thought Jupiter was bringing abundance. Well, give it a second, because what comes from that lesson, Jupiter, the new philosophy and belief system you hold about whatever it touched, Jupiter, usually comes a blessing. So I want to tell you guys that I know it feels tough in your 9th house with your beliefs, your higher ideals. Maybe you're having a tough go at it with higher education. Maybe you're about to graduate and you're in the final push. Maybe you're having some law or legal issues coming up you have to sift through. Maybe you want to travel internationally, learn a second language, but you just don't feel like you can right now. Maybe your social, religious, political beliefs are changing and you're receiving a lot of backlash from people you love that you really wish would support you, and it just doesn't feel fun. When Saturn goes through the 9th house, we feel restricted and limited in all those areas of life. Maybe you're going through this huge metamorphosis where you're like, wow, I can't believe I used to believe this about myself, or I can't believe I used to think that that was all I was capable of. I've got to alter my beliefs so that the entire course of my life changes. Now, after this transit, Saturn will be moving into your 9th house. And so since transits work in tandem with each other, Saturn going through your 9th house could be preparing you for a new career move or a new complete overhaul and change of the direction your life is going. So right now, until April 2028, when Saturn will move into your 10th house, focus heavily on what beliefs are holding you back, what experiences created those beliefs, and where you would like to change your mind about spirituality, religion, politics, and just overall life. You know, the 9th house rules our belief systems and international travel, because what happens, even if it's unplanned, when we travel to a different culture, different language, different food, our beliefs about where we come from all of a sudden change. I can't tell you how many times the media, social media influences the way you perceive a place, and then you go there for yourself and realize, wow, this is nothing like what I saw on Instagram. What? Why did people tell me you're crazy? I can't believe you're going there. It's so unsafe. And then you have the time of your life and people are so kind and the food is so good and you never once felt unsafe. And you're like, you know what? My beliefs are permanently altered, that I'm not believing in anything I see on the internet. That's the 9th house. Now here's where the challenge area, or the area of life that really may be pulling out these challenges with your beliefs or sense of expansion. It's the 3rd house, the opposite house. The 3rd house is siblings, it's neighbors, it's your immediate environment, and it's the house of your mind. This is where your brain lives. So a few ways this can be translated, Leo, is you have a sibling that is actively opposing you and making you alter your beliefs. Like the most obvious definition of this would be you have a sibling that votes one way and you vote this way, and your political beliefs are causing a tiff between you. This could be issues with a neighbor. Like as a Scorpio moon, I'm always just like, radar up here. People gauge up here. I always feel so bad for people who buy a house, which is, so difficult, so expensive, so rewarding, but it's a big deal. And then the neighbors are from hell. And it's like you can't escape their cigarette smoke. You can't escape the partying or the drugs or the dog they don't take care of. That's dangerous. And it's just, I really feel for people that have to go through that. My mom went through something like that. It was awful. I think the woman was on meth or fentanyl and just totally mentally ill. And it was dangerous. It got very dangerous towards the end. It's not a funny or cool story at all. But I just thought this is so unfair. You can't choose your neighbors. But most of the time I hear stories about neighbors that are good. But, I'm sure Netflix is making a documentary about one right now. Isn't there actually a documentary about neighbors on Netflix? I can't expose myself to those things, but I'm pretty sure I saw it. But it's the third house. And so ultimately, the big picture of this is it's the house of your mind, right? The third house and the ninth house are sister houses, right? They're opposites. The third house is public education. The ninth house is higher education. The third house is your immediate environment. The ninth house is a completely different culture across the world environment. So when you have external forces at play between these two areas in your chart, this is simply, do I stay small or do I go big? Do I stay where I'm comfortable, where things are certain, or do I take a risk and a leap of faith and go big or go home? You can apply that to any area of life that you're currently working through. Of course, it will all depend on your personal planets, but that's the opposition right here. Stay small or go big. Keep up with what everyone else around me believes, my neighbors, my friends, my siblings, my family, or be the black sheep of that group and say, I don't agree anymore. This is who I am, what I believe, and where I'm going. The cookie jar houses, the areas of life I want you to reach into when you get tired, when you're like, man, I never thought I would have to defend my faith or my religion so hard. Why are people such sticklers around something that brings me joy? I've always wondered this, and whenever I get backlash from people about being woo-woo, that's the phrase of astrology, you're so woo-woo, you don't believe. I'm like, I'm not harming or hurting anyone. Why would you put up a fuss about something that's clearly making me happy? Why would you cut that down? What wound do you have in you? It's the same way, I think by default, and this is just people's personal experience projecting onto me, but there's a lot of people that by default think that I am anti-Christianity or anti-Catholicism. And I have my opinions on it, but at the end of the day, if you find prayer to be soothing to your soul, if you love going to church, if you love living by Bible verses, I would never judge that or say don't, or you're praying to a false god. I don't even know. I don't care. If faith and belief in something unseen, man, woman, creature, nature thing, makes you feel calm and comforted, rock on. I think you should, everyone, even atheists, I'm like, believe in something. Pray to your cat, your dog, the tree, something, your food. I think it is so beautiful to pray over food, no matter who you're thanking for. It's just so beautiful. So the support houses, where I want you guys to reach towards when you get tired, is house number 1 and cookie jar number 5. House number 5, the first house and the 5th house. So these are trining the work of the 9th house, meaning they're supporting it. You guys hear Jackson, my little black pug, snoring? My voice just rocks him right to sleep. The first house is the house of new beginnings, your physical body and your identity. Work out, change your body, cut your hair, get the bangs, dress differently, lose weight, gain weight, whatever you need to do to feel so strong. Lift weights. So feel so strong in your physical body. This, by default, when you feel good and anchored in your physical body, you're unshakable in your mental body. And it's also, don't be afraid of new beginnings, of reinventing yourself. If you were a Leo ascendant, you have Jupiter going through your first house. Wonderful energy for physical vitality and wonderful optimism to make a grand change, have a new beginning in somewhere. The 5th house is fertility, creativity, romance. So this could be if you want to start a family, get pregnant, fertility, it's right there for you. If you are ready to date again and put yourself out there and have romantic encounters for nothing but fun, this is a wonderful support area. Or creativity, right? It's like, okay, let me pull myself out of that 9th and 3rd house axis. Let me go take a dance class. Let me go take a painting class. Let me go to a fun workout class where there's music and laughter and shouting and woo. And just have fun and do things that I used to love. Bonus points if it works on my physical health. And as a result, I am unshakable in that 9th house Saturn transit, where if someone doesn't believe in my new vegan diet, I don't care. Look how good I look how good I feel. I'm smiling ear to ear. I've got no time to convince you or to sell my belief system to you. I don't care. I'm happy. I'm whole. I am me. So this is where you Leos are feeling things. You're standing up for yourself. You're going through a massive overhaul in your belief system, setting boundaries with your local environment, siblings, neighbors, with what you believe to be true. Reach into physical fitness, creativity, romance, fun. Check your ego at the door. Step into heart-centered play. And you're untouchable, Leos. You never have to go through this alone. Astrology-lounge.com if you need me. Hi, Virgos. How are you guys doing? You good? You calming down? Are you caretaking yourself rather than other people? Let's talk about where Saturn is. Where Saturn's really making you put in the work. Listen, Virgos, I know it feels tough when it comes to learning to trust again. I know you're really being put through the ringer when it comes to paying off debt, finding money to finish a project, finding the money to do something you know you need to do. Whether it's creating a family, paying for a family, buying a home for the family, investing in a business, having a nest egg to quit a current job and start a new one somewhere else. Listen, I know that shit is tough. It is tough, but please, rewards are on the horizon. Please do not give up. You guys are my worker bees. Never give up. The 8th house is where Saturn in Aries is currently transiting for you guys. And it's debt, it's other people's money, it's finances. Maybe you guys are paying off student loans, medical bills. Maybe you went through a divorce or a separation recently. That is, you're still financially paying for it, child support, anything that is other people's finances mixed with yours. It's what we're going through here. It's the house of death and rebirth. Maybe you've recently lost a loved one, a fur baby, God forbid, a child, a family member, and you are like, oh my gosh, there is no God. Why would I get put through this? I don't believe in anything. I am just numbing my way through life. Don't give up. Don't do that. Don't take a break, but don't give up. The 8th house is also intimacy, sex, trust, around those things. If you have Virgo sun, Virgo moon, Virgo ascendant, maybe you're learning to trust women, to trust men again, to trust the opposite sex again. Heal some things there, because the more your heart is open to trust and honesty and vulnerability, the easier this transit can be for you. If you are a Virgo that has lied and used your high level of intelligence to manipulate people, especially if you've utilized sex or intimacy or just being sexy for money, or someone's done that to you, Saturn here is saying, hey, face it, own it. Just because you did that in the past, or just because someone did that to you in the past, does not mean that is permanently who you are. Every single day is a new chance to say, that no longer bothers me, or that's no longer who I am. You can do it. The alchemy is on your side. I know it's not fun to look at that and to own that, or to accept that that was a reality, but the more you just turn and face that monster head on, the less scarier it gets, and the more you might realize that that monster can be your best friend and your ally in life. Now, the challenge area will be the opposite house, the opposite side of life, which is the 2nd house of material items, earned income, paychecks, but self-worth. So how we can translate this is external things in the 2nd house could be really pulling out these lessons. So again, the first definition and most common one we see for the 2nd house is money. Virgos, what is going on with money? What are we learning about finances? Are you guys becoming new parents and you're worried how you'll financially support it? Again, do you already have children and you're worried about how to support them through new stages of life? Maybe you recently inherited money and there's some family conflict about who gets what, what's going on. Maybe you recently got a windfall of money and you're like, wow, now that I don't have to worry about money, who am I? What do I want to do with this? Let me do this right. Maybe you're selling material items to make money because you're in dire need of it. Or at the more spiritual, psychological side of this, perhaps you're learning where you've been on a merry-go-round of having a lot of money, losing money, a lot of money, losing money due to self-worth and low self-esteem issues. And so there could be instances with what you do for a living, how you make money, the job you currently have or the job you really want, that is helping you realize, man, if our bank accounts are tied to our level of self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-value, something's going on that I've been working my way through avoiding. Virgo archetype has to constantly bring awareness to, am I staying busy or am I being productive? Am I staying busy to avoid something subconsciously, or is this actually being productive? Because a lot of times it's the latter. Busy, busy, busy. You can always find something to do. Clean the grill, wash the dishes, do the laundry, run to the grocery store, run to Target, run to Costco. But at the end of the day, were you actually productive in facing what you need to? So this is the challenge area, right? Money is bringing out the 8th house lessons. Okay? Remember, great rewards set at the end of this. So don't give up here, because you might have a pretty bank account by the end of this transit. Now, the cookie jar houses, the areas of life that can bring great support to this, are the 12th house and the 4th house. These are your cookie jars. When you get tired, when you get exhausted, when you are losing sleep at night and waking up in a cold sweat because you don't know how you're going to make your mortgage payment or pay for your car note, reach for these houses, okay? The 12th house and the 4th house are water houses. It's Pisces and it's Cancer. It's emotional. It's internal. They are also generational houses, meaning they're family oriented. The 4th house is Cancer. It's emotions. It's the roots of the chart. Whenever I get a client that says, I am struggling, whether it's with money, fertility, love, job, I ignore everything that you think you'd go look at. I go straight to the source, to the roots. I don't want to waste your time and say, well, your midheaven's in Aquarius. Have you considered working in technology? Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but I want to get right to the source. I view my job as an astrologer similar to a physician, where a good physician, in my opinion, wants to see you as little as possible, not have you be a repeat customer. They want to heal you, get you gone. See ya, love ya, but don't want to see you again because I want you to be healthy. That's how I approach this stuff. I really want you to utilize it, go straight to the source, get out of here. You don't need to listen to me anymore. You got it. Take your ship. Take the steering wheel. The 4th house is the roots. It's family. It's my emotional center. When you feel like all hope is lost, I want you to take a break. Stay at home. Try not to be productive at home and fill the spaces with being busy and doing chores, but really tap into how you feel. You guys are so cerebral and intelligent and multitasking. Very often you talk about how you feel more than you sit and feel how you feel. The 4th house is going home, and so a great way to recharge and support yourself through these big changes is to go home, spend a night with mom, go back to dad's house, mom and dad's house, go to your grandparents' house and have lunch with them. Rekindle with your past. And remember, we were talking about the 8th house. The 4th house is the past. So say sorry to someone from the past, or if someone from your past you would like an apology from, pretend they say it. Just go there in your mind and say, you know what, I don't need them to say it in order for me to forgive and let go. The 4th house is home. It's emotional comfort. It's safety. It's your family, your mom, dad, grandparents, siblings. Spend time with them. Have a conversation with them. Write a letter to them that you don't send, or maybe you do. But reach for home. Comfort food. That would be a real thing. Reach for a pet. Just go home when all else feels lost. Now, the 12th house is another water house, but it's Pisces, so it's got a different flavor. This is spirituality. This is meditation. This is isolation and retreat. When you lose, what did Macklemore say? And when I lose perception, I need to go to a place where I lose reception. So when you forget how to perceive things, your heart is just so in money, 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 money. I got to provide, I got to support, I got to provide, I got to have money, I have to save, I have to. We need you to take a break. We need you to step away from the bank account, from the productivity, and we need you to go where you lose cell phone reception, quite literally. So you cannot answer texts and calls, you cannot make the post, you cannot go on PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, you can't. We need to put you guys in a rehab center called nature, called the ocean. The 12th house, being a generational house, is ancestors. Right? The 4th house is, that's my mom, that's my dad. But the 12th house is, who were my greats? Go back in as far as you can in your family tree to relatives that you never got a chance to meet and learn about them. See what they did. Try some plant medicine. Go to a national park and microdose and see what visions come to you. So these are the support houses. When the material, financial, trust, intimacy stuff starts to get loud, reach for these areas because I think you'll be surprised. It's like mixing the woo-woo with the real and the science. I think you'll be very surprised when you reach into these houses what comes up with those 8th house Saturn lessons. Virgo, don't do this alone. Come see me if you need me. Libras, even though Saturn is not on your Libra sun, this is kind of an extra challenging transit for you because it might feel really tough in marriage, divorce, relationships, custody agreement, co-parenting, business partnerships. You may be really learning that Libra lesson of fairness, justice, balance, having conversations to bring ease to a relationship or accepting defeat in a relationship. Learning the ultimate Libra lesson of where did I lose myself in pursuit of getting the other. Libras, Saturn is going through your 7th house of relationships. I call it the mirror house, right? There's something in psychology called intent versus impact. Our intent lives in our rising sign. If you're a Libra ascendant, Libra rising listening to this, your intent is pure. You see yourself as, hey, well, my intention was to make this connection fair, but your impact lives in the 7th house. What is it like being on the other side of you? That answer lies in your 7th house. Or through talking to someone who is married to you, close with you, parenting with you, in business with you, they may describe you as more Aries, bossy, thinking for yourself, angry, quick to temper, quick to anger. When Saturn goes through the 7th house, we have to sober up, literally and metaphorically, in how we relate to other people. Number one, we have to accept how people describe the impact we have on them. Whether we agree with it or not, whether we see it that way or not, we have to hear them out. We can't say, well, that wasn't my intention, even though it could be true for you. You have to hear how you impact people. And number two, Saturn going through the 7th house is usually indicative of divorce or upping a commitment, having a baby, buying a house. And from those things, it's exciting, it's milestones, but you have to really grow up and sober up and do relationships from a different perspective other than shared interests and romance and chemistry, because those things require longevity, discipline, standards, and values, which is what Saturn is coming through and teaching you. Saturn going through the 7th house is a classic divorce transit because what was already floundering cannot stand the test of Saturn, right? If you've been in a relationship where you've been just ignoring things, cheating your way through the test, well, Saturn strips all AI, all books, all flashcards, all everything. It says now take the test completely free of any influence. If you fail it, you get a divorce because it's just not real. Saturn comes through the 7th house and initially can feel difficult, but by the end of this transit, you are mastering the Libra lesson, which is how can I remain an individual while really close with someone, while married to someone, while being a parent, being a business owner. So I know relationships might not be so fun and enjoyable right now, or they feel like they're coming with a heavy burden of responsibility, but Libras, you're about to master this lesson if you show up and do the work that Saturn's asking. Now, the challenge area could be the 1st house. This is the house directly opposite of the 7th, which is where external events, things, places could be pulling out the difficulties in relationships. The 1st house is the only house in astrology that has nothing to do with anybody else except you. It's your physical body. It's a new beginning. It is your identity, your character, nothing else but you. And so the opposition here is you want to feel secure in yourself. You're craving a new start. You're craving a fresh beginning. You want the world to see you differently. Maybe it's something as literal as you have a health goal of losing weight, gaining weight, of getting fit that you want to achieve, but a partnership is holding you back. A conversation must be had. Maybe you're afraid to date some people. If you're a single Libra listening to this, perhaps you're afraid to put yourself out there because the opposition to the first house is I don't feel sexy, I don't feel pretty, I don't feel confident. And we need to work on those things in order to secure a committed, healthy partnership in the 7th house. There's some sort of push and pull between I want to protect my individuality, but I also want to step into partnership. If it's business, it could be I am so used to doing things on my own. Nobody knows how to do it as good as me, but I really need help. How do I balance those things? Can I step into a new era in my current marriage or committed partnership while not losing myself, without bringing up past pains into the present connection? And if it is a divorce or a marriage, well, the opposition could be, let me make sure there's a prenup, let me cross our T's and dot our I's with a serious commitment, let me really take time writing vows. If it's a divorce, this could be, how do I financially provide for myself? How do I live life alone when I've been with someone for so long? There's a lot of push-pull going on in that 1st and 7th house. Now, have no fear, because there are what I call cookie jar houses, and these are house number 11 and house number 3. These houses, these areas of life, are forming a trine, which is supportive beams into all the hard work you're doing in the house of relationships. If you guys are running on the field, playing soccer in the house of relationships, and you're exhausted and you need electrolytes and you're getting a cramp, well, lean on the 11th house or the 3rd house in order to go get some electrolytes, some salt, some pickle juice, some orange slices and Gatorade, if you will. The 11th house is your friendships, your networks, your hopes and dreams. Surround yourself with friends. Go volunteer with a cause greater than your own. Put yourself out into the community. Start posting online. Write about it. Make new friends on social media. Redefine what your hopes and dreams are outside of what a partner's are. Go find what you love. Go find the people you feel good around. This is the antidote. This is medicine. The 11th house is also the retirement house. So for my Libra placements of age who may be thinking about retirement, this might be a wonderful time to just bite the bullet and do so. You may find that it really heals a relationship or a business partnership that you're in. The 3rd house is our siblings, our immediate environment, but it's the house that holds our brain, the way we communicate, the way we process things we're taking in and listening or reading. So using this area of life as a support, as a cookie jar, this means talk to your siblings about it. Go spend some time with your siblings, or eliminate your siblings. Don't ask them for advice on something if it's not working. That could also be by default, a form of support. But this is also asking you to read, write, speak, teach, look at things from a different perspective. Take a course, get certified, go to therapy. We need a little TLC for the brain to help usher you through the relationships. Utilize AI to figure out how to write the text, send the message that's very neutral, that helps you put out any fires of conflict in relationships. And again, while the 11th house is the community, the network, the 3rd house is our neighbors and our immediate environment. So utilizing these 2 houses as pillars of support to all the relationship challenges you may be experiencing is showing yourself that people are still safe, that not everybody is mean or judgmental, not everybody is out to have conflict with you, by going out to your local coffee shop and saying hi and complimenting a stranger, and then talk about your feelings that you're going through online, on the internet, or go volunteer or do something that you once really wished you could do when you were young to ignite that fire within you, to balance your heart and your mind, to have the conversations needed for the relationships, and ultimately to make sure you are unshakable in your individuality, your character, and who you know you are at your core. Libras, this is a very big lesson for you. I know it feels tough with relationships, and you Libras ascendants, moons, Libra suns, maybe at this point where you're like, you know what, forget it. I'm going to be a cat lady. I'm done. I'm just, relationships are tough. Or maybe you're in a wonderful part of relationships, but you're realizing that not everything that has glitter is gold. Or you're realizing, wait, sometimes there's valleys, sometimes there's peaks in relationships. I think I'm in a valley. How do I handle this? You're really growing up and maturing when it comes to relationships, understanding how you impact people, understanding the difference between intent versus impact, and you're mastering the art of communication with all relationships, as well as mastering the art of listening, even when you want to be triggered and fight back, being calm, silent, still, and listening to how you affect people, and just holding space for them to share that safely. Libras, this is one of those lessons that is going to benefit you should you show up and have the patience, the diligence, the discipline to put in the work here. It's going to affect so many other areas of life. So pay very close attention to everything you can do to work as hard as you can on Saturn going through your 7th house, because this one leaves some major rewards in the form of a beautiful marriage, a wonderful friendship, great relationships to your family, wonderful relationships to your children, being the matriarch or the patriarch of your family and helping your children through their own relationships. So it's tough, but boy, is it shining you up to be a beautiful diamond. Libras, I'm always here for you if you need me. Astrology-lounge.com. Scorpios, do you guys hear the cicadas in the background? I love summertime. Oh, it slips through our fingers so fast, doesn't it? Even in South Texas, where summer is kind of eternal, I'm still like, oh, cumulonimbus clouds all day, cicadas forever. I just found a dead cicada shell. You guys will appreciate this. You know, when cicadas like leave their bodies, that's so Scorpio. I didn't even mean it to intentionally add that symbolism. I put it on our little Ring camera, so if anybody comes to the front gate, they'll see dead bug bodies. Welcome to Twin Scorpio Moon Ranch. Grab a carcass and come on in. Hi, guys. Listen. I know. You guys might be in a place where you're like, what happened to my health? Where did my body go? God, I looked good back then. Where did my energy go? Are my allergies seriously kicking up again? Where did I lose myself? I used to be so healthy. Going gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, paleo. It was so easy for me, and now it's tough. I used to have such a solid workout routine, and now it's peel myself off the couch to go do stuff like that. Man, I'm craving a sweat, though. Maybe you guys are feeling this. Maybe you're not enjoying what you do for a living anymore, and you're like, I cannot get up. You do this every day. Something's got to change. I can't work here anymore. Something's got to change. Maybe there's a tough coworker. It's really a thorn in your side. Or maybe you are just finally realizing where you have misplaced your superpower of loyalty into the wrong hands. And you're like, holy shit, I lost so much time to being loyal to somebody else's dream, waiting for their love, hoping they would see that my loyalty can heal them and they'll pour all of their loyalty and love back into me. Oh shit, that didn't happen. I want my life back. I want my body back. I want to be happy and healthy every day. Maybe there's something to do with pets. 6th house is our domestic pets, cats, dogs, turtles, fish, birds, bees. Maybe you lost one. Maybe you have one that's aging and it's hurting your heart a little bit. You need to just reframe it and look at it from, what a gift to be here with this fur baby at this time. This is the challenge area. It might feel tough in that 6th house of health. Maybe you are getting some blood work done, or life just feels boring. You know, you guys are so passionate and fun and exuberant. And then when it comes down to, God, I got to go get my blood work, I got to go to the doctors, I got to go to the dentist, like, this is not passionate. And then Scorpio sometimes has this great fear of, am I going to need surgery? What's going on in my body? Because sometimes Scorpios have been diagnosed with cancer when they were just going to get their routine blood drawn. I hope that doesn't scare anybody. It's unlikely to happen. But the best part of being Scorpio is your regenerative powers. You guys of most any sign have the ability to change your mental energy to change the physical by default. When your tail gets cut off, it grows back if you want it to. If you force all of your energy into it. I have seen so many Scorpio, sun, moon, risings, reverse autoimmunity, shrink tumors, shrink polyps, have like recurring yeast infections, UTIs, PCOS, endometriosis, and reverse it. Simply by getting rid of toxic, heavy energy in people and jobs and things in their life. It's miraculous. Scorpio placements really like to lick their own wounds, but man, does it work. Something magical in that saliva. Okay, the challenge house to this, which means the area of life that external things might be popping up, cropping up, people pulling this out, is the 12th house. 12th house is retreat, isolation, spirituality, inherited ancestral patterns and beliefs. The house of solitude, the house of the subconscious, all things hidden. This is less about people bringing this out, and it's more of a silent realization you guys may have on your own, out of the blue, on a walk in the morning or in the afternoon, where you're like, oh my God, here I am thinking I am almighty and powerful, and I have been acting like my mom the entire time, son of a... The 12th house is, I have been so focused on other people, I forgot how important it is to take a weekend getaway to myself and do nothing, to retreat. The 12th house is spirituality. It's synchronicity. Have I been asking for signs and completely ignoring them? Do I need to reach out to psychics, intuitives, tarot, spiritual leaders, religious leaders again? Because I kind of lost faith in those things after what I just went through since 2018? So maybe you're welcoming those things back into your life. Or maybe you're recognizing where there might be a real mental illness. I don't like mental illness, sounds so negative. Brain pain, diagnosable brain pain, that you're like, maybe I need medication for this just to heal for a second. Maybe I need to really supplement, change my diet and lifestyle. Like maybe there's a real mental or even physical ailment that's causing you to be bedridden or stay home, that you're like, you know what, enough is enough. Forget the relationship thing for a second. I'm pouring everything into my diet, exercise, workout routine, what I eat and drink every day, what I do every day. Getting rid of all the fragrance in my house immediately. Now there's support here. I call them the cookie jar houses. This would be the 10th house and the 2nd house. And these are trines to the work you're doing in the 6th house that are going to uplift you. So if you are exhausted running on the field of the 6th house and you need some Gatorade and orange slices, move to the 10th house and the 2nd house, because they're there to help support you through the challenges and the tough feelings in the 6th. The 10th house is your career, your legacy, what name you want to leave for yourself, the direction you want your life to go. What do you want to do for a living? When you die, and I know you think about it often, what do you want people to read about you at your funeral? What do you want to go down in history to be known for? Whether it's just with your children or your family or something worldwide, community-wide, statewide, wherever you are. Where do you want your life to go? Scorpio, you're the alchemist. You do your best work when you're at your lowest. I want you to always remember that, no matter where you are in life. When life gets to its absolute breaking point, this is when the phoenix rises from the ashes with that beautiful fiery glow you are known for. The 10th house says you've had to rise and fall quite a few times, but I think you guys are really ready for a massive transformation. Maybe you're becoming a parent. Maybe you're retiring. Maybe you're becoming a grandparent. Maybe you are so ready to completely change the industry that you work in. Honor that. Think about that. Make a dream board for that. Take small steps to move you towards that. Move towards that. The 2nd house is your other support house, and this is the house of earned income, money, material items, and self-value. If you have lost a lot of money, if there's issues with shared money with your partnerships or your family, if you need to sell some material items, or you know what, if you want to buy yourself a new car, a new house, a new outfit, if you want to buy something material because you're like, you know what, if we're going to cry, I want to cry in a beach house. If we're all going to cry anyway, then I want to cry in a Corvette. So whatever your choice material item is, I would say go ahead and buy it. It just might actually help give you that boost of inspiration to really go hard in that 6th house. Sell a material item, get the cash for it, buy a personal trainer, or meal prep for yourself with that extra cash in the 6th house. But the 2nd house is ultimately our hidden talents that we feel worthy of expressing and monetizing. And so how we can reach into this for self-value is monetize a talent you have. It doesn't have to completely be changed into your career and what you do every day for a living overnight. But if you love to paint, go sell 1 or 2 paintings at a farmer's market or on Etsy. Just to show yourself, I am worthy. People see my value and my worth. That is healing. And as a result, wow, if I could do this every day, if I could wake up at this time, have a nice slow breakfast, work out before I do, and then sit down and paint, and then I can sell 3 paintings a day and make just as much as I did at that job that I hate with those coworkers I couldn't stand, what could my life be like? Wow. Reach into that second house, Scorpio. Get support. Ask for financial support. This is another way it could be translated. Ask someone, can I borrow money? Hey, I need some money for something, some big change I want to make. You might just be surprised at how much people love to give to you because they recognize your worth and your loyalty. You'd be very surprised. Scorpios have their pride, and they do not like asking for money or sharing money because money is power, and we ain't going to be powered over, are we, Scorpios? My Scorpio moon feels, y'all. But you may just be surprised when you let go and put your guard down and accept. Okay, I received that check. I received that Venmo. I received that PayPal. Might do something much bigger than just buy you something. Scorpios, I would love to share how we are all going through this. Don't ever go at this alone. Don't ever feel like you got to push people away. Come visit me at astrology-lounge.com. Sagittarius, okay, I know we are all about the fun and the laughter, and we gloss things over because we're all going to die anyway, so let's just laugh about it, get over it. But Saturn comes through and says, well, it's time to get serious and stop laughing in this area of life. And Sagittarius, it's in our 5th house. Fertility, children, romance, creativity. Let me give you some ways this could be showing up, and maybe one of these is you. Let's start with fertility. Are you out there struggling with fertility? Have you been struggling to conceive an idea, a creative project, or a literal baby for years? Maybe upwards of 7 to 15 years ago, something happened. What would that be, 2011-ish? 2010, 2011-ish? Saturn goes through this house and says, it's time to get real. So when it comes to fertility, this could be, we need to get Western medical involved. We need IVF. We need IUI. Maybe adoption. We need to look into other ways that maybe at first you were pushing against, but Saturn says, put the work in. You'll be very happy with the rewards. If it's conceiving a creative idea or creative project, a lot of you may have, like I always tell you guys, if you're not new here, you know what I'm about to say. Have you wrote your book? Have you published your book? And a lot of you are like, no, I can't. I don't know how. Or some of you are like, I just have writer's block. So hard. That's okay. Saturn is saying, put in a little bit of work. Do some little things. Get a sand clock to flip over and force yourself to write. Start looking into publishing houses. Start writing down, jotting down ideas for that creative project. Saturn goes through the 5th house and says, it's tough, man. You don't feel creative or fun at all, do you? No, I don't, Saturn. Well, let's get serious about something we want to get creative about. Let's take small steps. Let's go to a writer's circle. Let's invest in a writing coach. Or maybe it isn't writing for you. Maybe it's music. Maybe it's painting, singing, dancing. When Saturn goes through the 5th house and we already have children, sometimes it could be we're watching our children grow up. We're watching our children go through hard things. And we have to be an anchor for them. And when that happens, you just become enmeshed in what's going on that you forget to go have fun for yourself, right? It's really hard to go eat, drink, and be merry when your child's going through their first heartbreak or a health issue or some hard, difficult thing, right? But Saturn here is asking you to try and balance both. Try and remember who you are before you became a parent. The 5th house is romance. So for my single Sagittarians, maybe you're feeling like, I'm done, delete the dating apps. I'm never going to find romance. I'm too old. That era of life is over. I've already met all of the romantic. That's so fast. You may find with Saturn transiting this that it feels tough. Yeah, you feel like the era of romance is over, but maybe you need to put in some work. Maybe during this time, if you're coupled up with someone that you feel like the spark has died, put in some effort. Book the trip. Invest in a class together. Try different ways to rekindle the spark. Put in the work because Saturn rewards work. If you're single, this could be, we'll spend this era of feeling held back, of writing down your standards and your values so that when the good times roll, which they will, you still have standards and values to fall back on. That person was so fun. They were so hilarious. Well, let me look at my standards list to make sure they fit that so that I don't gloss over any red flags. The 5th house is feeling tough, Sagittarius. But the rewards that come from answering the call to roll up your sleeves and get to work in this area of life, protecting your children, having children, putting in the, this is boring. Let me book myself a meetup to go find people. Maybe romance will happen. When you do those boring robotic things that Saturn loves so much, you get greatly rewarded. Rewarded with the child. Rewarded with the book in your hands. Rewarded with writer's block dissolving. Rewarded with a romantic relationship that actually has the longevity to stand the test of time. Now, the challenge house that external people, events, things could be really pulling out these lessons is the 11th house. It's the opposite house. This is the house of our hopes and dreams, retirement. This is the house of social media, community. So how this could be translated, I want to cover all the age groups here. Let's say if you're a Sagittarius ascendant that's thinking about retiring. I have a feeling you're seriously on the brink of pulling the trigger and retiring. But it's almost like you're like, what'll I do? I don't have hobbies. I'll miss the excitement of this. My ego has been wrapped up in this identity. If I retire, who am I? I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. If it's fertility or conception, then the 11th house is, how bad do you want that dream? Do you really want that? Or is that an egotistical dream or desire? Are you willing to reach into the 11th house and accept a blended family or an adopted family? Or are you ready to try different, very Aquarian, futuristic technologies, medical advances to conceive a child? Might need to lean towards that in that opposing house, even if it's scary or feels difficult or feels like, whoa, that's expensive, that's going to be a long time. These are all Saturn phrases. Step into it because Saturn rewards with health, longevity, and legacy, family legacy. Let's say your 5th house is romance. Well, the opposing 11th house is reach out to friends, family, or maybe it's family, maybe it's friendships, not family, friendships, community, and dating apps are preventing you from finding the longevity and romantic encounters that you really want. Or maybe this polarity for you, Sagittarius, is you have a dream and a hope for your children, but there's something in the way that is blocking it. Or maybe you want to chase your dreams, but you're in the era of, man, my current children really need me, so that's going to have to wait. That's what can really be pulling out these tough emotions here. Now, don't worry. There are cookie jar houses, meaning there's areas of life to lean on for support when things get tough. The 9th house, your Sagittarius house, and the 1st house are your pillars of support to make it through the 5th house challenge. The 9th house is international travel, your belief systems, higher education, seeing things from a bigger picture and expansion. So how we can reach into that house to help us get through the 5th house struggles is change your beliefs. If it's fertility, change the way you believe you have to conceive so you can step into it fully. If it's children you already have, change your beliefs around how you thought you would parent them or how you thought they would turn out and accept who they are and where you are right now. If it's romance, maybe try traveling overseas, maybe go international, maybe go back to school and take a course, and you might find that you meet someone there. If it's creativity, the 9th house is the publishing house. Reach out to publishers, see the bigger picture, take a course, take a group, go on a trip to spark your imagination again, to dissolve the writer's block. That's how we reach into the 9th house. Now, the 1st house of self, identity, the body, and new beginnings is also a cookie jar house, an area of life to reach for support. And this is new beginnings. So it's simple. Just accept what is instead of trying to make it what you thought it should be. Accept this new beginning. Embrace this new beginning. The first house is also your physical body. Sagittarius, we like to eat, drink, and be merry, and we love rich things, whether it's cheese, milk, and gravy, or whether it's super sweet cake, cookies, and pie. But the first house is saying, let me control that. Let me have a little discipline in what I eat, how I move my body, because as a result, it'll help me feel like I'm more in control of all of these other things in life that are challenging me. The first house is your identity, right? If you've just been so headstrong on this is who I am, this is how it was supposed to be, maybe challenge that and say, this is who I am right now, and this is a season of life, and I will embrace the identity I'm currently wearing, knowing full well that the sun will come up and go back down, and this era will be over sometime. So the first house, identity, physical body, movement, health, diet, accepting new beginnings, accepting where you're at, being present with where you're at, support system. In the ninth house of international travel, seeing the bigger picture, going to church, going to a spiritual retreat, a meetup, praying, having faith, are all beautiful sources of support during this transit. So Sagittarians, I know it feels tough in that fifth house, but rewards are on the horizon. Finally publishing that book, finally having the baby, being so proud of what your children or your child grew through, and being so proud of the little adult that they're becoming. There's really beautiful things on the horizon for you. Just keep going. Put your Saturn hat on, roll your sleeves up. Come on, you're the centaur. You can gallop your way through anything. Your optimism always has you bouncing back. But if you feel like life isn't so fun right now and you just got to focus on doctor's appointments and all the boring stuff in life, can I afford it? Don't worry. This too shall pass. And like my book says, it's just a phase. Sagittarius, come see me. Astrology-lounge.com. Capricorns, I feel like you guys have a lot of stories about things you're uncovering about your family. Maybe you're struggling with housing. Maybe you are getting evicted, kicked out. Maybe you can't afford your mortgage. Maybe you really need to move somewhere, but you're struggling with it. Maybe work is involved, children are involved, something about family. Capricorns, I know it feels tough right now with family. Maybe you're trying to start a family. Maybe you've lost custody of a child. Maybe you've become a caregiver to a parent, and it's tough and it's hard. Or maybe you are finally being forced to look at your emotional world. You guys are so capable. You're so disciplined. You're very much able to keep going because you've got grit and resilience. But when Saturn transits the fourth house, it completely siphons all energy from all of the other 11 houses down into the roots of your chart. If Saturn represents where it's time to put in work, when it goes to the base, the fourth house of the chart, you got to go to the roots of the plant. You can no longer trim the leaves, spray pesticide, harvest fruit so more can grow. You have to repot yourself, if you will. You got to take a look at the roots. What's really been going on? Have there been pests eating away at your roots? Have you been malnourished? Meaning, have you not had good partnerships supporting your spiritual or emotional growth? Have you been giving yourself away to support or be there for your family? And now you're at a breaking point where you just have to fill your own cup. When Saturn, your ruler, so it's very important that you follow Saturn's transits because they affect you the most, because Saturn governs Capricorn. When it moves into the fourth house, it's almost like everything in life comes to a screeching halt until you address what's going on within the four walls you live in, what's going on with mom, dad, grandparents, siblings, what's going on with your family, your spouse, your children. Everything comes to a screeching halt. Everything in life, your money, your career, your finances, travel, fun, sex, exploration, friends, doing things, volunteering, hobbies, all of these things just start until you address what's going on inside. Your heart, your soul, your mind. It's like nothing will move until you remove the emotional block. Now, the challenge house will be the 10th house, as above, so below. The 10th house is the exact opposite of this house, which could mean that this is the area of life that's really pulling out the family difficulties. And this is the career, legacy, fatherhood. Is there something going on with dad? Are you a dad? Are you a masculine figure for your family and you're struggling with that? It's not letting you soften into the 4th house? Do you feel like there's so many family responsibilities that you can't succeed or figure out what you want to do for a living because your emotional world is in such turmoil that when people say pick a respectable career and a job, you have no idea where to even begin. And if you do know where to begin, you don't know what step to take because it's stepping so far out of your comfort zone. And it's like maybe you're teetering on the edge of, do I stay with what the child version of me likes to do, or do I grow up into an adult and go after big things, mature things, things that require making decisions that break my heart but ultimately free me to grow up and experience the longevity and stability of making tough emotional decisions so that your entire future, not just your career, but your money, your future partnerships, your future children, your future friend group, what your retirement, we're going all the way, the 10th house, so that those things can benefit from getting your emotional world under control. When Saturn goes through the 4th house, it's time to say, all right, I can no longer act from anger, from impulse. I can no longer take so many risks. I have to be calculated, composed. Think Great Gatsby type energy. I have to grow up. I have to be strong. I have to give up temptations for tomorrow's rewards. Your career and the future of your entire life is counting on it. I don't mean to put the pressure on. I don't want this to scare you. But when Saturn goes through what's called a cardinal or an angular house, this is house number 1, 4, 7, or 10, it's a big freaking deal. And to me, in my experience, the 4th house is the roots. Nothing can grow and sprout if the roots are rotten. So in my personal experience, transits through the 4th house are a really good time to get the rest of your life in order. The things you do today are going to affect every other area of life for so many years to come. In terms of Saturn, the things you're making or the things you're doing right now could affect the next 30 years of your life until Saturn returns. If you're lucky enough to live to see the day, nothing's promised, right? Saturn will not return to your 4th house to give you a second chance to do things right for 30 years. Capricorns, you're made to leave a legacy. Utilize this transit to your benefit, please. Now let's talk about the cookie jar houses. The houses where when you're tired and you need a snack and it's getting tough, you reach into these areas of life to find support. The support houses are the 8th house and the 12th house. And these are water houses. It's Scorpio, 8th house. It's Pisces, 12th house. So this tells us reach for emotional stuff in order to heal the physical changes that you need and decisions that you need to make when it comes to family, emotions, and home. A lot of you guys need to move, need to change where you live. You either need to move back in with family, invite family to live with you, or someone you're currently living with could really be holding you back, especially if it involves anger, impulse, or just someone that does not bring out the good warrior in you. So there's something going on there with that. But the support houses are the 8th house and the 12th house. These houses are what we call trine. They're 4 signs away. They're support. They're pillars to support the foundation for all of the changes and work you're doing in the 4th house. So the 8th house is other people's money. This could be translated as ask for financial help, ask for an investment, a mortgage, a loan in order to change 4th house things. You may be very surprised at how it turns out. If it's not a financial ask, the 8th house is trauma and transformation. What it means is go to therapy. Speak with a psychologist, internal family systems, IFS therapy. Work with that to understand the root of where the inability to make decisions regarding career and where you live and your emotional body come from. The eighth house represents the dark things, the scary things, the taboo stuff, sex, abuse, psychological abuse, emotional abuse. When that house acts as support, this means turn around and face your darkest demons. Turn around and go head first into the things that scare you the most. Say the things that you have not wanted to say or admit, because just by bringing them to life really assists in the great fourth house work and transformation that you're doing. Now let's talk about the 12th house. House number 12 is also a place to reach for support, isolation, retreat, rehab. If you're struggling with substance abuse or addiction, reach for help to get rid of that first, because as a domino effect, it may help the fourth house work that you're doing with Saturn. The 12th house is the subconscious. It is prayer. It is faith. It is religion. Reach for things like that. Travel overseas if you need to take a sabbatical, to go on a retreat. Just get some isolation and alone time. When you lose perception, go somewhere where you lose reception. Macklemore. Go somewhere where you can clear your mind and get very precise on the changes and decisions that need to be made in the fourth house. But the 12th house, when you research it, it's hospitals, prison systems, rehab clinic. It's any place where you can put yourself, where you can sit and watch the world go by and not participate. That is the area of support that you can go to. I mean, just go sit in a church. Go sit in a spiritual retreat center. Go sit out in nature, quiet, blank spaces. Reach for religion. Reach for a faith practice. Something like that can really help support you through these great changes. The 12th house is also our ancestors. And so sometimes when we call on our ancestors or use plant medicine to speak with them, this can act as support for you guys too. But the 12th house, being the ancestor house, is sometimes just take a deep dive into your ancestry. Try and find as much, in the age of AI and internet, you can find so much. Find out who your great-great-greats were. How were they in relationships? Where did they live? Did they build their own home? What did they believe in? What were their political views, social views? Get to know the people you derive from, and you just may find answers to a lot more than you went out searching for. Capricorns, if you need help with this, please don't go at it alone. I know you guys like to, and you usually succeed by doing so, but who heals the healer, right? Who disciplines the disciplinary? Who comes up with the game plan for the creator of the game? Come see me, astrology-lounge.com. Aquarius. Hi, my Aquarians. Listen. You guys already struggle with the mental, with the mind. You guys are fixed air signs, which means when you have a thought or a belief, you're usually stuck with it. When you have a friend or a relationship that you enjoy communication with, you're loyal to them for forever. Now, on the other side of this coin is a lot of your friends, cousins, siblings, relatives, community, network, coworkers, you name it. Just the people in your sphere can really influence your beliefs, and then you stick with them. And then sometimes they change their belief and you have to get caught up. Listen, Aquarius, I know it feels tough in your mind right now. And this is you're probably listening to this going, yeah, it always does, sister. But Saturn is transiting through your third house. What's going on with siblings? Is there a relationship to a sibling that needs a little TLC? Are you reflecting on your sister, your brother, and what they've taught you about relationships and connections? Do you miss them? Are you angry at them? What's going on there? Is it feeling a little rough? The third house is our neighbors. Do you have a good neighbor you're very thankful for that helps you? Or do you have a neighbor from hell that's really challenging you? And I guess I have to have a conversation that I really don't want to. And I think I need to go out in my community and express myself a little bit more. You guys have Jupiter going through your fifth house as well. You're ready to get out there and play, so why aren't you? What's the story you're telling yourself? Are you guys trying new hobbies, new workout activities, new romantic opportunities? You guys have a Pluto going through your first house. Utilize it for alchemy. Change your identity. But when Saturn goes through the third house, this could be challenging the way you think, speak, the information you take in. It's a really good time to stop and say, am I taking in biased news, biased astrology, biased podcasts, books, audio books? Saturn goes through the third house and says it's time to clean up what you're reading. The newspaper, podcasts, books, how is it benefiting you? It needs to serve a purpose now. Saturn going through the third house is challenging you to learn better communication. For a lot of Aquarius placements, they're either in a romantic partnership that's really challenging them to listen more than they speak, listen to listen, not listen to react. It's challenging them to, hey, you told me you would do this, but you never did that. Whoops, the Aquarius mind slipped through and I detached. But Saturn is going through that third house and it is encouraging you to practice communication. Don't just preach, but live what you preach and speak. Now, the third house is the brain as a whole. And so if any of you are listening to this and you're struggling with brain type things, ADD, ADHD, it goes as far as epilepsy, headaches, migraines. Gosh, what else could fall into this house? Saturn goes through here and says, hey, it's time to put in the work to really address these things. Is this really an issue, or does it stem from something emotional, from a thought pattern, or from a memory? Let's uproot it. Let's put in the work. Let's book the doctor's appointment or the therapist appointment. And let's really take a deep dive into this to see if we can uproot it and permanently change things. Let's put in some serious work in how we listen to people, what we take in, and our focus. What we write about, teach about, speak about. Saturn goes through the third house and says, I know it feels so hard to say that thing, but you need to say it. The challenge house is the ninth house. So speaking of belief systems, the ninth house is opposing this work you're doing, which is the house of social beliefs, political beliefs, religious beliefs. You guys are going up against some deep-seated, long-held, long-term belief systems. Maybe you have had it out with organized religion, or maybe spirituality has been so woo-woo for you, or maybe you've gone too far down one of the rabbit holes of religion or spirituality, and you need to come back up. Maybe it has something to do with politics. Maybe you're getting lost in conspiracies and think, okay, I need to take a break to really analyze, who am I listening to? Do they have full credibility? Have I gone too far down being loyal to someone else's belief system and not developing my own? And as a result, I can't communicate properly, and I don't want to communicate because I'm an Aquarius and people are weird and people don't get me. If I put myself out there and express how I feel and communicate how I feel, will I be rejected? Will I be accepted? So the ninth house is really pulling out, okay. It's like the most basic example of this that I could give is, say you lost touch with a sibling or a family member or a really good friend because of a political divide. You voted Republican, they voted Democrat, and you're like, I can't talk to you because of one belief system. I can't find common ground with you on anything other than that. Saturn comes through the third house and says, really, though, Aquarius, come on. You rule the community and the collective. You're a leader of reminding people that even though we can have so many differences, at the end of the day, we are all human here to coexist. Have you separated yourself because someone is Christian and you're not? What's going on there? We need to extend the olive branch and change the way we think and communicate and speak about belief systems so we aren't so divided. Now, there's two houses that act as the cookie jar houses, or areas of life where there's support. When this mental work gets a little too tough and your brain is spinning and you need a break, reach for house number 7 and house number 11. These are your Gatorade electrolyte houses when you're tired of the third house game. The 7th house is partnership. It's relationships, right? So these areas, 7th house and 11th house, act as pillars of support for all the work of the foundation of the third house. 7th house, love, marriage, partnership, connection. This is the area of life I want you to lean on. Are you married? Do you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend? Lean on them. Ask them what they think. Do you want to get married? Make that commitment, even if you're scared. Write your vows and, Aquarius, speak them out loud in front of everyone. Gasp, I know. Maybe you want to go into partnership with a business idea, a creative idea, but you're so used to being autonomous and don't fence me in like your cousin Sagittarius that you're like, you know what? Maybe it would be nice to partner with someone on this idea, on this project. The 11th house is also an area of life that it has great support. And this is community, volunteering, your hopes and dreams, social media. Reach to people nearest you in your community or on social media. Ask them what they think. Communicate with them. If you have a lot of online friends, plan something in person. You just might find that it really softens the edges of the third house work. Your hopes and dreams, pay more attention to those things. I feel like that's kind of been put on the back burner for you guys as you completely morph and change with Pluto sitting in your first house, that you forgot that life is meant to be enjoyed, not just survived, not just processed your way through it. You guys remember back in January when I did the Aquarius season podcast episode? You really enjoyed it. Thanks for that great feedback. But Aquarius tends to process in the head first, and then a couple of business days later, they process in the heart, and then they feel, and then they cry. I feel like a lot of you have been challenged to be in survival mode and just work hard, do things, lots of big life changes, that you may be getting to a point where you're finally able to take a breath and relax, but you almost don't know how to relax or chill out or just enjoy love for what it is, or to just date around for fun, not for seeing if you can be committed and do all that fun stuff. And maybe some of you have been completely asocial and just introverted, but you're ready to put yourself back out there and say, you know what? I am an Aquarius and my people are my family, but I've been kind of lonely lately. I think I'm ready to be with people in person. Like, I bet a lot of you have an amazing online community, but you're ready to take it to the next level and invite them into your space, or you go to their space. Highly, highly encourage that during this time, because it acts as support to the third house, which is, wow, I always thought that having long distance friends or friends on the internet, or just being friends with my spouse or my partner, or I always thought that I didn't need a partner, I could be independent. You're really softening. You're starting to change your beliefs about those subjects. And Aquarius, don't fight the feeling. Let that flow. Because by the end of Saturn going through the third house, the mental and physical part of your beautiful brain of yours could be rewarded with happiness, friendship, love, marriage, union. You guys have a lot of cool things hovering around your constellation, like amazing things. Love, romance, creativity, hopes and dreams coming true, retirement if that's the age that you're in. You just have to alter the way you're thinking, communicating, processing. Be very cognizant of what you're taking in on the internet. Protect your brain at all costs. Literally take some supplements for your brain too during this time frame, but protect your mental at all costs during this transit as well, and you will be beautifully rewarded by the end. Aquarius, come see me. I absolutely love to hear your Pluto stories. Astrology-lounge.com. Pisces, listen. I know your bank account looks rough. Okay, it's just, I said it. I know the money's looking a little tight, isn't it? Maybe, if you're listening to this going, no, but is it about to? Grabbing your money and throwing it under your mattress. Maybe it's not that. Maybe you just made a huge purchase and you're so proud of yourself and it's all yours. It's probably a house or a living situation. Maybe it's a camper, motorhome, a tiny house, or a huge house, your dream house. When Saturn goes into the second house, we usually make a very large, mature, committed, long-term purchase, like a 30-year mortgage. It's classic Saturn. And it might have our bank account looking a little skinny, Might have you going, ooh, should I have bought that car? Oh, the insurance was double what I thought. Boop. But it's an investment, right? It's an investment in your happiness. It's an investment in you, because this is Aries we're talking about. And you guys have Uranus going through your fourth house. So this something tells me it's something to do with a living situation, where you live. Saturn going through the second house is also forcing you to sober up with who and what you've allowed into your life that didn't recognize your value, your worth. Saturn going into the second house really forces us to look clearly and face the reality of where our natural talents have been sitting in the graveyard, where we have been supporting somebody else's dreams and talents. Saturn going through the second house is a harsh reality check on, have you been doing something you don't love for a living? Do you absolutely hate your job? Because Saturn going through the second house is going to make it so unbearable until you leave and go do something that you're more naturally gifted and talented at. Saturn going through the second house is the ultimate time of, do I want this material item or do I need this material item? And through that question to absolutely everything you purchase, you can really do a lot of subconscious therapy and healing, because your answer to that question with every material item can tell you a lot about what's hiding underneath. Now, Saturn going through the second house in the sign of Aries is, I feel like I've lost sight of my own worth and my own value. I feel like I have let so many people just take advantage of my light, of my energy. As a Pisces ascendant, you kind of walk through life as a healer, whether you see it or feel it or not, and people just gravitate to you. They can feel your unconditional love and support. When Saturn goes through the second house, it's like, hey, good job on that, but have you really lacked boundaries? Do you feel like your energy field is very porous and everything in you has just leaked out and you are depleted and exhausted and you've trusted the wrong people, whether it's with money or with your heart? Do you feel like you've lost your independence? Do you feel like you've lost the ability to tell people, F off? Do you feel like you've lost the ability to do no harm but take no shit? Saturn going through this second house is asking you to rebuild that. Come back home to that, to the self-worth, to the money, to your relationship to money. Have you tied your identity to material items? Why? What happened there? Now let's talk about the opposing house, the area of life that could be pulling out things that are really challenging the second house, and it is the 8th house. Trauma, death and rebirth, sex, intimacy, debt, other people's money. How this may be is you are tied to a job because you need the money. You're tied to a marriage because of the financial comfort that it brings. Maybe you owe somebody money and you're trying to figure out how to pay it back, or maybe there's a dispute about it. Maybe you're working with Saturn and you are paying off your student loans or a car note or a mortgage, and it feels amazing. But you had to make a really large payment at the end, which made your bank account small. I don't know, something going on with finances, money, self-worth, loss of power. You know, they say in the spiritual streets that your bank account is a direct reflection of your self-worth, your self-value, your self-confidence. I agree in some instances. I definitely think there's room for debate there. But when we have the opposing 8th house to the Saturn second house transit, this is simply, where did you lose your power due to a financial entanglement or financially relying on someone else or their family or relying on an investor? Right? Maybe you guys are holding on to jobs because you have a large investor and you don't want to disappoint them. Maybe you are, working on social media and somebody invested in your brand and you're like, oop, they're telling me what to do, what to say, what aesthetic, and I've lost myself. That could be one definition of this. But the other one is, maybe I have lost my sense of worth because of past sexual abuse that I really haven't cleared out yet. Maybe I have lost my self-confidence or seeing my value because of past psychological abuse and being told to be quiet, don't talk about it, get over it. And now you're at this instance where you're ready to take up space. You're ready to say, I matter, I value, how I feel and how I perceived a relationship matters, and I'm ready to talk about that impact. Now, there's 2 houses that act as the cookie jar houses, areas of life that are supportive of the hard work you're doing here. So if the second house is a soccer field that you are absolutely exhausted on, when you need to go to the locker room and take a break, reach for the 6th house and the 10th house. The 6th house, get your health in order. Oh, don't tell a Pisces to get up and work out and go gluten-free. Yep, that's what I'm saying. The 6th house is, hey, it doesn't have to be hire a personal trainer and go on a water fast for 3 days. We don't need to be that extreme. It could be as simple as I'm going to eat 25% less at meals. I'm going to eat dinner 1 hour earlier. I'm going to make sure that I wake up 30 minutes earlier just to have that space for myself. The 6th house is asking you to make small changes because that provides a pillar of support for the 2nd house grueling work that you are doing. The 6th house is co-workers, day-to-day routine, pets. These are all things that can help you financially in that 2nd house or help you feel worthy and valued, right? This is kind of like, hey, what's the word I'm looking for? Don't put out, externalize your sense of worth. That's not the word. It'll come to me though. Don't put your self-worth in the hands of others. Don't put it out there. I feel like you guys are coming up with the word and you're like yelling it, but I can't find it. Your sense of worth really wants to come within. And I've found that the best way to do that is to take back control of the little parts of your day. What you eat, what you drink, how you move your body, what you take in, what you spend your day doing. That's what the 6th house is asking. It's not the sexiest, funnest house, but it's a house that makes a huge difference when you don't pay attention and when you do. The 10th house is the other area of support. Now, the similarity between those 2 houses is their career and work houses. So you guys have this like big trine of money and work houses. Are you guys doing something you love? How is work going? Do you have a creative project or a business idea that you need to revisit? Because that 10th house is asking you to do exactly that. Revisit it. Come back at it. Hopefully you're living in a space that feels more emotionally safe and authentic to you. Hopefully you're clearing up any difficulties at home with children, with partners, with family, so that you can soar in your 10th house of picking that project back up or really nailing it at your current job and getting a pay promotion or an upgrade, because Saturn leaves rewards. It may feel tough financially or with your self-worth right now, but by the end of this transit, you guys can have a very pretty bank account, pay off debt, not be beholden to somebody else through their finances, whether it's a marriage or an investor, but totally financially independent, if you will. And feeling like you have your control over your day-to-day routine and your health and really enjoying the direction that your life is taking. But right now, we just need to focus on those themes to get you to that place. Pisces, you never have to go at this alone. I absolutely love meeting Pisces risings. You guys all have such beautiful eyes, soft faces that is so easy to be around. I adore Pisces risings. If you guys need help with any of this, visit astrology-lounge.com. Okay, my beautiful 12 zodiac signs. I hope you guys enjoyed the Saturn Retrograde check-in. Listen, there's always going to be an area of life that's a stickler, but there's also always going to be ways to support you through it. You never have to go through anything alone. That's one reason why I love doing astrology, is because even if all it does at the end of the day is provide validation for what you're going through or what you're experiencing, there's so much potent medicine within that. I love it. So happy Saturn retrograde. Enjoy this until December 10th of this year, when we will return to talk about Saturn going direct in that area of life we just spoke about. And as usual, come find me at astrology-lounge.com. I will see you guys on the next episode. We got the Aquarius full moon to talk about that has a direct connection to that Aquarius eclipse back in February. Do not miss it. I'll see you guys then. Sending love from Twin Moon Ranch. Bye.